minutes, half an hour ago. Welcome everyone, blah, 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 blah. And then I would like to give the floor to the State Secretary, Mr. Rakosi. So slide 2. Slide 2 should be shown when I'm saying Rakosi. Yeah, but okay, I can move it myself to the second. And then the person comes, a speech. And I come again. I cannot see you with the light. So thank you very much, Mr. Rakosi. Now let's go. Mrs. Commissioner is not coming, so we have a video message instead. And then video 1. Video 2, sorry, video 2. What? I don't listen to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Servus. Good morning from Brussels.
Okay.
I would have very much liked to be with you in Budapest for this launch event of the Danube Transnational Program. And so to have the opportunity to meet with you in person, unfortunately,
yeah.
this
light
not
is very annoying.
in my schedule.
The light there.
Dear friends,
so the video is finished, and then, thank you very much. After this video, we will move on for a presentation of Vicente Rodriguez. So slide 3. What? This light is very annoying for the person. This light, the one, that one. Sorry? Very annoying. Perfect. Yeah, now it's off on. Yes, like this. We don't put that light. So then, after slide 1, slide 2, the speech, video, and then I come, and then I give the floor to This is video message. And then I give the floor to Vicente Rodriguez, and then we go for presentation 1. Okay. Good. Okay, so it's over. Okay, thank you very much, Vicente. Now we move to Imre Chalakovic, so I moved here. And then we go to presentation 2. Yes, this one, I think. Yes, correct. Okay, so I come. Thank you very much. And then we go to coffee break. This part was okay, except if you want to show the faces of the person. Mr. Rakoshi, who doesn't have presentation, the good thing will be to show the face on the screen while he's speaking. And also myself and all the speakers before the presentation. That will be the good one for the web streaming also. When there is no presentation, the face of the person all the time. When there is a presentation, at least some seconds before the presentation to show the face of the speaker. We continue or we wait? Wait. It's nice like this, or maybe a bit closer, I don't know. Sorry? No, the camera is there. So welcome everyone. Yeah. That's okay like this. it's fine. And there are 2 cameras. Pretend what?
Buenos días, soy Vicente Rodríguez. So, can we test after coffee break? Oh, this is too close, huh? I don't like the background. What? In what sense? Yeah, we need to check quickly the Pepsi because people are standing outside and they would like to enter. Can we check after coffee break? Hello? It's like a mirror. You can it's really, because I saw that. In the coffee break, or in the lunch even. Okay, in the lunch they have time, because the web streaming, they can cut it, the image, and they can check the Prezi in the lunch because they have 1 hour and a half. But let's say a coffee break is shorter, so after the coffee break is very easy. It's just camera, no presentation. There will be the people and just the camera moving from the persons. So I go, I introduce the panel discussion and they go here. So between coffee break and lunch is very easy, no presentation, nothing. Okay, but wait, because the Prezi, there will be the web streaming at the same time. So they need to put the web streaming somewhere not to bother, you know? If they can check there or here but not visible to the camera, maybe we can put the camera for the web streaming somewhere not visible in the screen. Not to see that they are checking this, because it's not nice. So can we let the people enter now, or? Sorry? Repeat? Okay, we can test again. We test again the beginning? Very quickly only.
Morning from Brussels. I would have very much liked.
Okay.
Okay, good. And then we finish and I come to the stage. So over the video. Welcome everyone to this kickoff event. Okay, music, and then welcome everyone to this kickoff event. Slide one of general presentation should be shown. This is not a slide 1, this is presentation 2. Yes, okay, but we should in the beginning, okay. So, hello everyone, and then I give the floor to the state secretary, and then the person comes. So face to the person, the camera normally, when he is speaking. Okay, and he finish. He goes. And I can thank you very much, Mr. Rakoshi. Now we would like to see a video message by Walter Defa, and then video 2. Yes, slide 3, video 2. Slide 3, video 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Servus. Good morning from Brussels.
Then over, the video finish.
Very much like to be with you in Budapest.
Thank you very much for this video message. Then slide 4, I move myself. Yep. And now Vicente Rodriguez presentation 1. Well, the person comes, hello, I'm Vicente Rodriguez, then presentation 1. I come again. everyone. Please take your seats. We apologize for this delay, but there were so many people in the registration. Please take your seats, all the people around. Welcome everyone to this kickoff event of the Danube Transnational Program. I'm Eloy Gomez, Communication Officer of the Joint Secretariat, and I'm glad to see that the room is quite full. We have more than 550 people registered. Unfortunately, hundreds of people were rejected because of capacity limitations. But this day, the first day of the event, will be web streaming, is being web streaming, so we would like to send a warm hello to all those following from home, from work, online. And of course, we invite them to send also questions through Twitter. We have a special hashtag, DTP event, so they can send all the questions from home. And from here, you can ask questions in different parts of the sessions. How many countries belong to the Danube area? Which types of funds are financing the projects? Which thematic priorities needs to be covered by the projects? When the first call, until when is open? How to submit a proposal? Many of these questions, I know probably you have some information beforehand and you know some answers, but the rest of questions will be tried to be clarified in the different sessions that we are prepared today. And we will start with a general framework about transnational cooperation in Europe, and then we will go to the specificities of the Danube Transnational Program. And we would like to focus a panel discussion in the context of the area, but namely in the differences and links with the European Union strategy for the Danube region, because we already received some emails and people confused a little bit the Danube Transnational Program and the EU strategy for the Danube region. So during the panel discussion, we will try to clarify these differences and similarities. And then after the lunch, you will have time to get all the information about the first call for proposals, and you will have time also to ask questions about this first call that today is lunch. So we have now in the website of the program the possibility to submit the expressions of interest from today until 3rd November. Tomorrow will be a more practical day with workshops. We will have 8 parallel workshops in different rooms according to different specific objectives. You were asked when you register to select 2 of these workshops, and you will have the name of the workshop you register for in your badge. However, I will explain you later on how we will develop this second day of the event. But today, we don't want to be late, even if we are ready, but no more late than expected. And then we would like to start with a representative of the hosting country. Hungary is hosting, as you know, both the managing authority, but also the joint secretary. So I would like to give the floor to Mr. Balázs Rakosi. He's the Minister of State for the utilization of EU funding in the Ministry for National Economy of Hungary. Please, Mr. Rakosi.
Good morning, everybody. Dear ladies and gentlemen, friends from the European Commission and from the partner states of the Danube region project, and friends from Hungary, from the Hungarian administration, and of course, dear participants who cannot be with us today, but who follow up the event through our web streaming device. This is the 21st century. So it is a great privilege for me to welcome you all here in Budapest on behalf of the Hungarian government at the Danube Transnational Program Kickoff Conference. We meet here today and tomorrow for 2 days to launch the Danube Transnational Program, to learn about the objectives and opportunities that can be offered by this very new territorial cooperation program for strengthening the economic, social and spatial cohesion between our countries in order to reach an increased level of integration of the Danube region. The number of participants and those who could not register for this event reflects very well that high level of interest which is generated by the Danube transnational program. The Danube for us is not only an instrument or not a geographical item or a subject, but this is a region which is part of our cultural heritage, our history, our very nice childhood memories, part of our poetry and culture. So it has some sort of emotional content. So therefore, there is a very emotional relationship to the river. To simply put it, we love this river. Therefore, we Hungarians are really very glad and happy to host the program and the managing authority and the joint secretariat of this project. And we take it very seriously, not only as a job, but considering the emotional content of it, we have something much more towards this program and the implementation of the whole proposal. So therefore, I think that the outcome of the work together will have additional value, and I hope that finally the outcomes will show that it is more than a simple project. It will show that we love this river very much. The Hungarian government and the Ministry for National Economy has two additional distinctive roles in relation to the Danube transnational program. From this double perspective, I would like to reflect on this new cooperation instrument. First, as representing one of the partner states of the 14 cooperating countries, on behalf of the Hungarian government, I would like to express the strategic importance of transnational cooperation and specifically of the Danube transnational program. Secondly, as the Ministry, we have a privileged opportunity and of course a responsibility hosting the managing authority and the joint secretariat of the program, and I will also talk about the objectives and expectations towards the program implementation and management. Hungary will provide all the necessary support for the success of the program, including infrastructure and human capacities as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the Danube River and its tributaries flow through and like an artery connect 14 countries of Europe stretching from the source of Danube, the southwestern regions of Germany to the Danube Delta, entering the Black Sea in Romania, and the southwestern countries of Ukraine, bordering by the arc of the Carpathian, the Dinaric, and the eastern part of the Alps mountains. This beautiful and complex area of Danube Basin is very heterogeneous in many respects. The wide variety of the natural environment, the diversity of culture, the social-economic differences, the administrative fragmentation of the area pose enormous challenges, but provide fantastic opportunities at the same time for all of us. Many of these challenges are common in the Danube countries, which call for broader territorial perspectives and cooperation, just like many of the potential can be exploited more effectively in working together. The Danube transnational program has its strategic relevance for Hungary and all partner states of the region for several reasons. First, I believe that the program can and will contribute to the socio-economic development of the region through cooperative procedures by promoting innovation to reduce the development gaps between the different parts of the program area and providing new solutions for the social challenges. Improving connectivity and accessibility is a key issue to reduce the high level of administrative fragmentation as well as to ensure a more stable energy supply system for the Danube region countries. In case of issues like management of the larger transboundary river, environmental and climate change related problems and risks which do not stop at the borders in order to be able to tackle them more efficiently at home within our countries and region, it is inevitable to work together on joint approaches, coordinated and cooperative solutions on a wider transnational scale. The program is an important tool to bring values results in the field in order to ensure a more sustainable development of the Danube region as well. Secondly, I also see the program a significant political institutional development instrument for the whole region. which is expected to further intensify cooperation at political and administrative level and on a transboundary scale in order to strengthen the macro, regional and European perspective in the administrations, to influence specific policy fields and to achieve a higher degree of territorial integration. The intensified cooperation among the different administrative levels should bring forward institutional capacity building and ultimately spread good governance examples in the whole region. Although it is evident that the Danube transnational program is a funding instrument contributing to the realization of different EU policies and not only the Danube region strategy. As well, there are several other instruments contributing to the strategy implementation, since there is a close alignment between the two, simply the same geographical area and a specific link between the program priority axis and the strategy pillars. During the implementation, we expect that many projects promoted by the Danube program will have relevant contribution to achieve the targets of the strategy and its action plan, while the program will support the governance of the strategy. Considering that the Danube region includes both EU member states and countries which are currently not members of the European Union, it is another strategically important feature of the Danube transnational program that it integrates different funding instruments like ERDF and IPA funds, and hopefully soon ENI funds will contribute to the success of the program. This coordinated funding mechanism of the program makes possible that each partner state will be able to cooperate on an equal level for the sake of a more balanced territorial cooperation and integration. The signal of our strong commitment towards the success of the Danube program is that the Hungarian government is eager to take the responsibility through the Ministry of National Economy to establish and host both the managing authority and the joint secretariat of the program here in Budapest. Herewith, I would like to thank the head of the managing authority, Mr. Csalagovics, and his team for their efforts to set up the institution and wishing them all the best for their future work. The Hungarian government and the Ministry for National Economy are supporting their activity hand in hand with the other participating countries and with the Commission. The integrated body of the managing authority and the joint secretariat will be responsible for the professional and smooth implementation of the program and to serve the common interest of each partner state. Both the managing authority and the joint secretariat is expected to provide services to each partner state, region and partner on an equal basis, keeping at the same time equal distance from each of these actors. Therefore, it is crucial for the Ministry for National Economy to guarantee the functional independence of the program management body for strategic subjects. At the same time, the technical responsibilities with regards to regular and effective program management is to be ensured as well. The common and high expectation of the partner states, the beneficiaries, and the Commission towards program management is an effective and simplified implementation and result-oriented approach. I believe that the simplification measures which are to be introduced in the Danube transnational program implementation will ease the administrative burdens of both the beneficiaries and the program management bodies, as well as will ensure a more effective implementation. These simplifications, among others, intend to reduce paperwork, ease exchange of documents and information among beneficiaries and program management bodies, as well as to fasten payment procedures. By reducing the administrative burden for the program institutions and beneficiaries, the focus of the program implementation will be shifted more towards results and quality. In order to be able to make evident how the different programs contribute to the common EU objectives and what concrete results are achieved by them, in the 2014-2020 period of the European Union put more emphasis on the result orientation approach. While programs have to demonstrate their clear contribution to the objectives of the Europe 2020 strategy, projects are expected to clearly target program objectives and contribute with concrete results and outputs to the program results and output indicators in order to ensure the coherence between the program and its projects and ultimately to contribute to the economic, social and territorial cohesion of the region and the whole European area. Until now, It was the period of preparation and developing the Duna Program with its objectives, targets, and implementation framework. From today, we all have to work in cooperation on the implementation of the program in order to achieve what was being planned and what is expected to achieve from us. The main result of our common work should be the increased level of cooperation and high degree of territorial integration of the Danube region. Ladies and gentlemen, with this perspective, on behalf of the Hungarian government, I would like to wish you for these 2 days a fruitful cooperation and discussions, and I'm convinced that this cooperation will bring positive changes to our area, to the whole beloved Danube region. Finally, I would like to wish you a great time here in Budapest. Enjoy your stay. Don't miss to visit the Danube, which is very close to this building. And please do not forget and remember that we love this river. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rakosi. Like this, with his speech, we have a first idea of the role of both institutions hosting the managing bodies of the Danube Transnational Program, but also the role of the partner states in the program. But at the same time, another essential role is played by the European Commission. We need to apologize because Mrs. Corina Crețu, Commissioner for Regional Policy, was not able to attend the event today. But in her name, Mr. Walter Defa, Director General for Regional and Urban Policy of the European Commission, has sent a video message for us, and we would like to share this video with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Servus, good morning from Brussels. I would have very much liked to be with you in Budapest for this launch event of the Danube Transnational Program. And so to have the opportunity to meet with you in person, unfortunately, this was not possible in my schedule. Dear friends, the Danube region has no match in the world. Built around the 2,800 kilometers length of the Danube River, it embraces 14 countries and involves 115 million inhabitants, which represent more than 15% of the population of our continent. Against this background, it's not surprising that we find here an enormous diversity, including some of the richest, most innovative, and most dynamic areas of Europe, but also a number of regions that are seeking opportunities to catch up in terms of per capita income, job prospects, and infrastructure. In this respect, the Danube Transnational Program that we are launching today constitutes a unique opportunity for everybody. Designed to match the geographical area of implementation of the EU strategy for the Danube region, this program will make available 221 million euros over the next years for the European structural and investment funds, from the pre-accession funds, the neighboring policy funds, and a deal of national funds. And all this money will be available to support projects that will make this region more innovative and socially responsible, more environment and culture responsible, better connected and energy responsible, well-governed, and finally, more stable. Thanks to the involvement of 14 countries, 5 of which are not members of the European Union. To achieve these ambitions, this program can build on the extraordinary experience of the South-East Transnational Cooperation Program of 713. This program leveraged investment worth more than 28 billion euros and developed, among others, over 340 new services for the benefit of more than 7 million inhabitants in Southeast Europe. Furthermore, the close relationship between the Danube Transnational Program and the Danube Strategy, this will further offer opportunities for boosting the program. Whereas the Danube Strategy will provide stronger political momentum to cooperation projects, the program will offer the opportunity to translate ideas into jobs and growth. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to move from words to action. It is time to identify, select, and implement high-quality cooperation projects that will make a difference for the people in the region. The tools are now on the table. I'm sure you will make the best of them for the benefit of the Danube region and Europe as a whole. I wish you fruitful exchanges over these 2 days. Köszönöm szépen. Thank you for your attention.
So we would like to thank Mr. Defa for this introduction video message. As he mentioned, 2015 is the beginning of a complex program in a diverse area of 14 very different countries, but it's an area full of challenges and potentialities, and Danube Transnational Program truly believes that many of these challenges and potentialities we can face better together, joining forces in transnational cooperation. Many of you are already familiarized with transnational cooperation, but to have a better overview of what is transnational cooperation at the European Union level for the programming period 2014-2020, Mr. Vicente Rodríguez Sáenz, Deputy Head of Unit of DG Regio from the European Commission, will give you an overview of this transnational cooperation. Please, Vicente. We thank for his participation because he's even a bit sick, so thank you very much for your participation.
Okay, so hello everybody. I'm very happy to be here, trying to, after the words of my General Director, we will try to give you, as Eloy mentioned, an overview of what is transnational cooperation for the new period. First of all, I really would like to congratulate the organizers, because I've never been in an event of this kind in so impressive venue. I suppose that you can agree with me that this is really going to make a big difference. Okay, so for doing this, I have prepared a PowerPoint, a very extensive one, so I don't know if we can cover all the explanations, but this will be at your disposal afterwards, so you can have this information. But this is, for the moment, the intention was to really explain. Thank you very much.
There's no place there.
Yeah, okay. So what the Commission has thought, what are the key points that we consider are important for the new period, 2014-2020. And to start with, I would really like to identify what is really going to make a difference from the past and for the new period in terms of the cohesion policy. This is not only cooperation, this is also affecting all our programs. And what we really would like to have, and this was already mentioned by Walter Defa, was to deliver on those objectives of Europe 2020, because smart, sustainable and inclusive growth, this is totally valid for the new period, but we really want also to add on results. This was mentioned already by the Secretary of State, and this is a very important issue for all cohesion policy. And what we really think is that we really need to maximize the impact of our funding. Of course, we have less and less resources, with many challenges, many potentialities, but we really want to maximize this impact. So, but coming back to what was the legislative framework, it came into birth in December 2013, and these are the regulations that we have that were approved at that time, and since then we have been initiated the programs, the negotiation of the programs, and this is why we are here now, because we have a program for the Danube, and we need to launch it and start implementation. And to do this, we really need to apply the Common Provisions Regulation, the regulation for ERDF, this is what is applicable for transnational cooperation programs, and for the first time we have a specific ETC regulation. And this is because for now, for the new period, we have just two main goals of the policy. We have what we call mainstreaming programs, but we have as a second main goal the European Territorial Cooperation programs. And what are the principles for the new reform of all programs? As we already mentioned, since the starting point, is thematic concentration. We already mentioned that we have a limited number of resources and we really need to concentrate. This is why we will explain how we are going to do this. Results orientation, so we have to define from the very beginning at the programming level and then reporting during the implementation phase what are the results obtained and, with our programs, with our interventions. And finally, we need to really be strategic in our approach. Let's see how we are going to do this. So first point is thematic concentration, and to do this, there is a menu of thematic objectives that each program has to select, and this is what Duna Program did during the negotiation phase, and they selected, well, many, here is the list that appears in the regulation, but if we look at this is mainly the areas of competence. So we are trying to really put colors in the world, and we have the research and innovation, information communication technologies, competitiveness of SMEs, environmental area, as well as better public administration, employment and mobility, etc. So this, from all this battery of themes, of thematical objectives, each program has selected a limited number of that. So they can concentrate the resources in those areas. So result orientation is another key point. So this was already mentioned as well by Secretary of State. Each program during the negotiation phase has to really identify what are the specific objectives for each for each program, what are the specific objectives that this program is seeking, and what are the result and output indicators that will be measured during the implementation of the program and will tell us what are the results of the program. This is something that sometimes it has taken quite a lot of time, and we will need to report during the implementation phase, so we will really need to establish where we are. So we will have milestones, reporting during the different years of the programming phase, and this is what we call the performance framework. And then on that basis, there is also the performance review, and because this is not going to happen, and of course not in the Danube area, but if the results of the program are not achieved, or there is a good justification for that, there are other consequences that is going to be will happen to the program. But of course, this is why it's very important at this stage that we define very well this performance framework and that will facilitate a good performance review that will accompany during the implementation phase of the program. And finally, the key point as well is the strategic approach. We already mentioned the alignment to the global strategy of the Union, the Europe 2020, but of course, it's very important as well to have a point on the new concept of macro-regional or sea-basin strategies. And in a program like Danube, this is really basic, because if we define the macro-regional strategy, and this is defined inside the regulation, as an integrated framework supported by the European funds and other funds, because this is not only about cohesion policies, every fund acting in the area, that, like the Danube area, should be feeding into the strategy. And of course, the idea is that through cooperation, there are a number of identified priorities and challenges that could only be tackled and really addressed with a common force between all countries and regions participating in the area. This is what the definition says, but really, when the Danube strategy was conceived some years ago, 2011, was really with that idea, no? Because we identifying what are the priorities and how they can be tackled together, because it's the only way to tackle these challenges with all the common forces from our place. Okay, but to complete rapidly what has been the number of programs as an overview for the new period, we still have the cross-border cooperation programs. This is the map where we have all borders, in the internal borders or even external ones, with the EPA CDC programs or ENI, where actions on the cross-border could be financed. And this is a summary of what we can find as cross-border cooperation programs. A second strand will be the transnational cooperation, where the Danube is located. And we have 15 programs all over Europe with 2 billion euros allocated to those programs. And with them, as we mentioned already, with thematic concentration that mostly, if we know that all programs are approved or in the pipeline for final approval, so we have mostly decided and selected objectives in innovation, environment, and low carbon economy. And of course, there are 4 transnational programs that are very much in line with the strategies that are approved till now. So this is, first is the Baltic Sea Region Program, together with the strategy, the Danube Program, with the Danube strategy, Adriatic and Ionian, and Alpine. And there is also the Sea Basin strategy for the Atlantic one. And finally, a word on the third strand that exists. This is the interregional cooperation. And we have some content programs, Interact, ESPON, and URBACT. And then we have a project program. This is the Interreg Europe that will facilitate cooperation through stakeholders and beneficiaries all over Europe. This is now what are the aims, with a budget of 360 million for the total period. Okay, this is the overview of the cooperation programs. And what we really like also to address at this point, and we will discuss later on in the panel, is that all those key elements that we mentioned about thematic concentration, focus on results, strategic approach, or even we can mention a new way of simplification, because this is another request that we will be working during the period, trying to really see where are the areas that would be simplified, trying to really bring a better and more efficient administration of the funds or the programs during the period. Okay, so this is mainly when we talk about a strategic approach and macro-regional strategies, we have this idea of embedding the strategies. And this is what, in a program like the Danube, is really a key point. And this we can discuss as well later on during the day. But for the Commission, this is a very important point, because when a macro-regional strategy is defined, it's supposed that, that there is a follow-up of a political decision for a closer macro-regional cooperation towards implementation. And how do we do this? So we need to identify and prioritize actions and projects from the action plan of the strategy, and we have to seek funding, because you know that there is no individual funding for the strategy. There are all sources of funding that could be available for the strategy. So all our programs, not only cooperation, also the country-specific programs, IPA programs, ENI, the rest of the instruments, regional, national funding, other institutions. This is all those funding that exist in an area like the Danube should take into account the priorities that you, member states and regions, are working and deciding and identifying in the strategy, and this would be your reference during the coming years when allocating funding. So how to do this in a program, for example, like the Danube? So there are some possibilities you can use. So theoretically, you could use ring-fenced budget in the program since the beginning at the programming level. You could design calls to fund projects only with a macro-regional scope. You could allocate some ex-ante specific selection and quality criteria when selecting projects, or you could even award bonus points to macro-regional projects when selecting and awarding the projects. So the idea is that member states and regions, you work in the strategy, you work in the program, in the programs, you mean, so in the Danube Cooperation Program or other national regional programs in the area, and the idea is to bring the two worlds together. So what is happening in one area, the others know what is happening in the other. So there are possibilities that managing authorities should liaise with the macro-regional governance actors. So in a case like the Danube, this is easy to do because those people are identified. So in the OP, so on the cooperation programs meetings in the monitoring committees, there should be discussions on how the macro-regional strategy, how can be achieved with our aims. And finally, we should also invite the managing authorities of the programs to the macro-regional meetings. So this is what the Commission is really pushing for, and I think this is something that should be happening throughout the period. Okay, so this was mainly the topics that I wanted to introduce and really explain to you what the Commission has in mind, what is really looking forward during the coming years, during this implementation phase. And okay, let's continue with the rest of the discussion. Thank you very much for your attention.
So after this first part of the event, where we have an overview of the transnational cooperation, of the roles of the different actors involved in transnational cooperation, we will go more in deep to the Danube Transnational Program itself.
When we started today, I listed some questions. Many of the questions of the basic information included in your folders. You have a flyer with some of the questions can be already clarified through this flyer. But we will have now another presentation in which the head of the managing authority, Mr. Imre Čalaković, will tell you more about the background, the history of the program, the nature of the area covered by the Danube transnational program, or, for example, he will mention the 4 priorities that need to be addressed by the project. So I would like to give the floor to Mr. Imre Čalaković.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to warmly welcome you here in Budapest on behalf of the Managing Authority and Joint Secretariat of the program. As my colleague already mentioned, that I will have just a very short introductory presentation about the program. I would like to highlight the main aspects of the program. I will talk about the geography, the programming, just to give you information how the thematic objective has been selected. So just to have an overview. My colleagues later on in the afternoon and tomorrow, especially at the workshops, they will give you much deep information, especially on the first call. But I just would like to have you understanding the framework, the path what we went through in the last years, not of course only us, but all the partner states of the area. First of all, about geography. Geography counts, especially in case of transnational cooperation. Vicente just mentioned before some of the objectives of transnational cooperation in general, and I would like to give you just a very short summary of the regional view on the geography in this respect. The transnational cooperation program started in '96, if I remember well, and in the first 2 periods, we had the CACES program in the region. The CACES program, it is, I think, quite a number of you still remember, and it is Central, Adriatic, Danubian, Southeast European space, which in fact, it was a huge territory. At the beginning, when all the discussion started about international cooperation in these macro regions, the Commission set certain regions in Europe based on technical objectives, certain way to connect regions. But it was a kind of, not technical, but more political objective here, because it was the area where the accession was taking place at that time. So at the beginning of the CACES program, there were 4 member states, basically Germany, Italy, Greece, and the new member state at that time, Austria, who initiated the new program and offered cooperation to the neighboring country, where Hungary became the first full member of the program in 2000. And then it followed by first the Visegrad countries and later on other countries as well. So the cooperation started, but it was focusing on the Central European part of the area as the accession were going on this aspect. So it was basically the starting phase of the regional cooperation here. And then what happened that in 2004, 2006, most of the Central European countries became members of the EU, so the space changed substantially. It was a dynamic change, and only the Western countries were still not in the EU, but they were already received a different status, so they were starting to actively participate in the program as well. So therefore, we have a big number of countries and a big area which was not possible to manage anymore. Therefore, it was a decision of the Commission and the Member States to divide the program into 2 different spaces. One space is the Central European program, which is still running very well, only composed by Member States, and it is a very focused program, easy to manage and very effective. And then the other part, which was still basically dealing with the accession and the integration of the newcomers to the EU, it was the geography of the Southeast Europe, which was still dealing with somehow, it is basically was the Balkan countries, the Western Balkan countries surrounded by the member states and try to integrate them and to have a common approach in the region. It was a good geography, and I think the program was pretty successful in several senses. There was innovative management, and also in terms of projects, it's improved quite a lot in comparing with the previous cooperations. So it was it was expected to continue, but discussion started in 2012, 2011 already. And the issue is changing the geography was somehow linked to the initiation of the Danube strategy, which is not a program. This is a strategy as a political strategic framework, so it should never mixed with the program. But it is, and it's not about funding, it's about ensuring and enhancing cooperation in a region, in all sense. But still, it was a new geography, it was adopted by the Commission end of 2011 and accepted or endorsed by the Council mid-2011. So this cooperation already has been initiated and started. And it had an influence on the strategy of the program as well later on. And this influence you see in the next slide. Although the programming of the Southeast program started at the end of 2011, so there was a kickoff meeting, and even in 2012, there were 2 task force meetings organized by the member states to set up the new Southeast program. But in the meantime, the discussion between the Commission and the member states and between the member states started on somehow to mirror the strategy and the program geography, and finally it has been accepted. So in mid-2012, the programming of the Southeast has been stopped, and then a new setting has been agreed and started in 2013, the programming of the new program. So the geography changed. It means that now the new geography is in line with the Danube strategy. It still doesn't matter, and I just would like to highlight again, at the program it is linked directly to the strategy. The program is still a structural fund program, has its own governance, managing and coordinating several projects like other transnational programs, but it has a special niche to support the strategy because it is the only multi-country program in the region. Therefore, it could, in some way, in some extent, very helpful for the strategy as well. And then the last slide is about last map, at least in the first part. It is about the geography of the new program. And basically, if you see in the map, this composed by 9 member states. Germany participating in the program by 2 southwest landers of Baden-Württemberg and Bayern, and Ukraine has 4 oblasts in the program area. Kosovo is not part of the program area, and altogether this is a huge region. It is 115 million people. So this is about the geography. My colleagues will speak about more in details, but I have to mention here that the program, at least in the first core, will focus its partnership internally, so it is under certain circumstances possible to have partners to involve the projects from other regions in the neighboring areas in forms of associated strategic partners, but direct financing, it will be not given to them except in Germany and Ukraine. Under certain conditions, there's more possibility. But my colleagues will complement this issue later on. About the programming framework and the programming, just give you a very short summary how the programming has been done. I mean, I just summarize here 4 aspects of the programming, which member states will take into account when they are deciding on the objectives and the priorities of the program. The European framework has been mentioned extensively already. We have a quite new period here. I think it is not always translated so far to the partners very well, but I think we have really different programs now as before. Programs are much more focused, even the thematic, even the specific objectives, what you have to consider is much more specific. So not all the activities can be financed by the program as before, and there are a lot of other stipulations you have to be carefully investigate when you are, or those who are drafting a proposal. So we have result orientation, which has been mentioned. I will not repeat it. My colleagues will speak about the intervention logic of the program, which is very important to understand and follow not only in the preparation of the proposals, but also in the implementation of the project and the program as well. To really consider the region and the special needs of the region, we have commissioned a territorial analysis of the space, which was a very wide analysis using a lot of maps and data to find out what are the needs of the region. Although it's a huge region and there are a lot of things which should be done here. Therefore, there was a parallel. We were considering the instrument itself. But it's not, because the point here is not like what we can do for the region, because there are a lot of things can be done, and different countries and other funding are also doing so. But we have to find the niche of our special instrument, which is international cooperation. So previously we have commissioned a number of seminars, even in the Southeast international programs, where the stakeholders, we have tried to figure out what is exactly the niche of the program in different specific objectives, different directions, in order to see how we can, which are the specific areas where our program can contribute to the overall development. And then, of course, it was a very important part of the discussion, the national, regional, local strategies and considerations of the partner states. In each partner states, we have quite extensive national and regional consultations. Stakeholders were involved, and then member states came together and tried to, together with all the aspects what we have, to figure out how to choose what thematic objectives we have to manage in the future. And it was done quite fast and effectively, so we had quite some delay, 1.5 year delay, because of the geographical question. But at the end of the day, we are absolutely not the last international programs to be approved. So I think these member states are really did it much faster than in the previous program periods. I will not speak about thematic consultations too much, but this is what has been mentioned before, that out of these 11 thematic objectives defined by regulation, we have to select 4. And then what is even more important for the concrete proposals, that inside each thematic objectives, there are investment priorities defined by the ERDF regulation, and then even we have to also consider and select them by the task force. There is one specific and very important specific investment priority. This is because it's not defined by the ERDF regulation, but by the ETC regulation. This is a special investment priority for the international cooperation in general, and the program, of course, take into account. This is a specific priority for the cooperation with the macro-regional strategies, and this is the basis of able to finance directly some of the structures of the strategy in the future. So just one summary of how the member states are dealing with the strategy from the aspects of the program. There was already agreement at the very beginning that the program will support the strategy, and also there was an agreement that a small allocation of the program budget will be used directly to support the governance systems of the strategy. But it was also agreed that the program in general will work more or less the same way as the other international programs. So the main part of the program budget will support the national project, although it was agreed in the programming, and then finally it was agreed in the last stage that the partner states integrated a number of specific criteria to the selection of the projects, where we can take into account, to a certain extent, the needs of the strategy also in other projects. But this you can learn later on when we are discussing the issues in more deep. Then about the regional analysis, and this is just a couple of features of the program. I think it was, and I always mentioned that it's a very special region, and I think this is also, you have to understand, it's not that easy to program. For example, the GDP, I think this is a very specific area where you can see in one single map the most developed regions of Europe and the less developed ones at the same time in terms of GDP, which also, to a certain extent, leads us to understand how difficult to find common objectives, although, and this is not in the map because I cannot show too much data now, but of course there are other aspects where the new programs are connected. For example, the problems of demography. All the countries are among those who has the global problem, in the global list. They are in the last row. It's not only Hungary or whatever or Bulgaria, but even Germany in some ways. So there are some other aspects where there are problems which are identical for most of the countries. There is a next map. It is also showing the political difference between the countries we are participating, which is also mirrored in the borders. And then, of course, it's difficult to have equal cooperation between countries where the borders are still there, and you cannot really transfer the goods without problems. So, especially at the external borders, especially with ENI countries, Ukraine, with Moldova, the borders are very strong still. And then, of course, there are other borders which are very normal. According to normal situation, it is very easy to go on. So this is also a situation which is, again, dynamically changed, also hopefully in the future in positive direction. And then as more and more countries will, again, hopefully also the Western Balkan countries will be member of the EU, then the borders, more and more borders will be, in long run, also open. Then we have the priorities. The priorities, this is basically what we already mentioned, that out of the 11 thematic objectives, the program should select 4. We have selected 4, and inside the 4, we have decided to support 8 investment priorities. I will not talk about the specific objectives, although these are the most important part of the story, but Alessandra will tell you more details in the afternoon session. In just summarizing it in a very simple way, that we have innovation, and especially innovation in the first priority. We have environment and culture in the second axis. We have connectivity and energy in the third axis. And we have institutional cooperation, governance in the fourth axis. And inside the fourth axis, we have the specific objective 4.2, but we are not attaching today, tomorrow, at least not in deep. The reason is because there's a specific objective for the strategy. So inside of the strategy, we will support the strategy point of the strategy, the priority area coordinators, and we will have a seed money facility for the strategy. So it's not part of the first core of what we are discussing, but it's important to understand this is an important element or the small element of the program and linked to the investment priority I just mentioned before. This is also a question where to place the program, because I will just quite soon I will come to the budget, and you will see the budget is not that big in comparing with the mainstream programs. So then the question is that what is the scope of the program, and this is the special niche of the program. This is a kind of supportive role in the policy integration of the whole Danube area. And the program strategy is also a link to this. So it's also in general, the approach is that the international projects should influence national or regional strategies directly. And that's why member states should come together and then to work together and then to bring back the results of the projects in national level. It's not only about, because it's not only about theory, but also in practical terms. So this is also important in the policy framework to mention that we are also looking for concrete investments, the preparation of concrete investment, because this is the important aspects of all development. At the end of the day, we have to do something in ground. And this kind of coordination role should be given at least partly by this program. It's also important that as a cooperation should find its own niche and strengthen this niche in this whole complex matrix of the development policies. So this need is basically the program should really coordinate policies, should prepare investments for long run, and then really find their niche and specifically target those areas where it can be influenced by a small budget what we have in the program. I have a couple of examples of activities, because my colleagues will talk about more the different specific areas of different priorities. but just to have a clue what kind of examples we have. So, of course, as we already said, that the program will develop and support develop frameworks and strategies. But what I already mentioned, that prepare transnational investments, and then is also we have some concrete pilot activities. Of course, pilot activities should be integrated and not only like I'm doing something here and you should do something else there, something which has a common goal, and it should be understood this way. But we have a lot of examples of good and very effective pilot activities which can be then transferred to other countries as well. Then we have several examples of development of transnational tools like software tools or technical tools which can be used in a bigger area, either to develop software and transfer or develop something, a big one together. We have examples for all, and I think there are more kind of a lot of proposals in this direction also in the future, as we are expecting. Okay, then about the budget. I already mentioned the budget is rather small in comparing with the mainstream programs. Basically, if you see the total budget is 263 million euro roughly, and then of course the bigger part is the ERDF budget, which is over 200 million. Like we have like 10% additional money from the IPA, and together the community support at the moment is 222 million euro. Plus we have 41 million national co-financing, which is we are expecting 15% co-financing for the projects, and we have an agreed 25% co-financing for TA. But for the project, it's important that 15% should be provided. And of course, in a number of member states, there are national schemes to give to the partners the whole or part of this national co-financing. Other countries, the whole or a part should be financed directly by the partner. And then we have also a kind of half-confirmed ENI funding for the program. So what we see that it seems that at least there are 5 million euro around for Moldova participation in the program, but there is a kind of will to have also Ukraine and a specific envelope also for Ukraine in the program. We don't know the exact management model and the exact funding in this respect. Therefore, in the first call, there is no ENI funding and there is no possibility to have direct support for ENI partners. But it seems that we will have these funds available in the program for in a later stage. So therefore, we will develop a scheme for the ENI partners. If it is possible, even we could see an integrated approach also like the IPA, but we have to see the legal and management framework to confirm it. So I think in the first call, anyway, we will not have these funds, but you can expect in the future. For management, it seems complicated, although I think it could not be more simple. We have just the conventional management structures. We have the monitoring committee where the member states are sitting and deciding on the key issues special. They are selecting the projects for support. We have the managing authority and the joint secretariat in the Ministry of Economy here in Budapest. And then we have the network of NCPs. We are working along with the secretariat to support the development of the project and give advice in the selection phase, and also later on to work especially for the communication objectives of the programs. And for the projects, then of course we have the national controller system, as we have also in the past, for those who were participating before the national project. So this is more or less similar. What is different, and I already mentioned that we have to take into account the result orientation substantially. But what is really new, and I think we already have quite some solutions or some development in this respect, simplification. First of all, what has been already done, that in Hungary, together with the certifying authority, we have simplified the system as much as possible. So the procedures has been reduced to the minimum. The number of accounts reduced to the minimum. In fact, it's 1. So, and the number of institutions is also reduced to the minimum. So we have basically 1 certifying, 1 management, and one audit body. And we are taking care all the procedures should be as simple as possible. Then we are trying to translate in the future for the internal procedures as well. Then other aspect of the simplification will go to the projects, and this step by step will be introduced. There are a lot of possibility. There are much more possibility in the regulation as before, which means that we have a possibility to have flat rates or overhead cost by the regulation. And already in the first call, we will try to use some, and I'm expecting that the next calls even more possibilities can be used, where the projects can really concentrate on the outputs and much less on the administration. So this is also the objective that we have to ensure in the future. Then for further information, then of course, and I'm speaking about along the last line, in the kickoff conference also we will have later on presentations by my colleagues on specific information on the first call, and there were already national info days, and there are coming national info days in several countries where the partners can participate. Then we have the homepage which are already operational, and we have links in the different social media instruments, so this you can extensively use. Of course, you can turn those who would like to have proposals developed in the future. They can turn to the national contact points and the secretariat. And the first core proposal is going to be launched now, today. So the further information will be given to you later on. The documents are ready, and you can upload from the homepage. So thank you very much for listening to me, and again, my colleagues will give you much wider information in very concrete terms. Thank you very much again.
So before going to the coffee break, I would like to make you 3 announcements. The first one, all the presentations as well as the web streaming, all the sessions recorded will be available in the website that Imre just mentioned in the coming days. Second announcements, during the breaks, the coffee break, the lunch, but also tomorrow, we invite you to visit the partner search area, so just in front of the registration desk. You have almost 50 project ideas submitted by some of you as some potential applicants, so you can have a look per priority to the ideas you may be interested. You can take notes of the email address written in the project idea, or you can even leave a post-it with the acronym of the idea you are interested in, or your business card. There are some business cards holders. You can write the acronym of the idea you are interested and then put the business card, and we will forward all your contact details to the person in charge of that project idea. If you didn't manage to submit a project idea to be displayed here, you can still use the project idea section of the website, where there is a database, and I think it's very useful to find suitable partners for your potential proposals for the first call for proposals. And then the last notice is to inform you that the coffee break and also the lunch today will take place in the rooms behind me, in the room just behind you, and also in the panorama area here, where we have a magnificent view of the Danube River. We couldn't find a better view more related to the program, so we invite you to have a coffee, having a marvelous view of the Danube program. Please be on time at 11:30 sharp. Like this we can take the time and finish on time. Thank you.
Fear to leave. Again.
Good.
Sì.
even 20. I would need 20 years. Exactly, not even minutes, years probably.
Please get inside again, take your seats. We would like to continue as soon as possible. I hope you enjoy a good coffee break, and with the energy given by the coffee, we can start with, our next section. In previous years, the European Commission had the idea to link some macro-regional strategies to some transnational programs. The Danube Transnational Program supports the EU strategy for the Danube region as an essential instrument of macro-regional cooperation in the area and to bring benefits to the people in the area. But still, some of you have doubts between the links and differences between the strategy and the program. And for that, we have prepared a panel discussion, not only to focus on this issue, but also to analyze the Danube Transnational Program on his context in general. We have representatives of both partner states, but also representatives of the EU strategy for the Danube region to clarify all these issues, as well as the representative of the European Commission. And I would like to give the floor to them and tell you that at the end of the session, you will have the opportunity to ask questions to the speakers, you that are here physically, directly, raising your hands, and those following us web streaming can always ask questions through through Twitter, as I mentioned you this morning, with the hashtag DTP event. That will be at the end of the session, and please only questions related to what is going to be discussed in the panel discussion. All questions related to first call for proposal, you will have time after lunch and after the session of the first call for proposal to ask these questions. So I would like to give the floor to my colleague, the head of the Joint Secretary of the Danube Transnational Program, Alessandra Pala, who will moderate this panel discussion.
Thank you. I would like also to welcome you here and welcome the panelists. We heard today in the earlier presentations what is the framework that we're extending. The Commission actually explained which is our regulatory context, in which framework the Danube Transnational Program is actually standing, and the Managing Authority outlined the process that brought to the choice of addressing the specific objectives of the program, but we do believe there is a still bigger picture to be shown. Not only the political context that we said about the Danube strategy, because the Danube program covers the exact territory of the strategy, all specific objectives of the program are contributing to the strategy, even though not all the priorities of the strategy could be supported by the program. On the other hand, there is also a continuity and connection with the past and current programs, because, as you know, we are stemming from a successful program, the Southeast Europe program, and we are actually surrounded by other transnational programs that are partly covering our space, or they are actually covering other macro-regional strategies. So with the help of the panelists today, we would like to show you this big picture in order to have a clearer idea on where we are standing and what it is expected in the future. So I would like to, in this case, pose my first question to Mr. Rodriguez Saiz, but first I would like to introduce him. And Mr. Rodriguez Saiz, as you know, he's the deputy head of unit in the DG region in the European Commission, working in the competence center responsible for macro-region and European territorial cooperation, specifically for the transnational and interregional cooperation. But maybe first we can introduce all the panelists and then we can start with the questions. We have Ms. Christina Diegelmann. She is the deputy head of unit for interregional and cross-border cooperation in the State Ministry of Baden-Württemberg, Germany, and she's responsible for the EU strategy for the Danube region in Germany, and she's representing the current German presidency in the Danube strategy. Mr. František Koločany from the Government Office of the Slovak Republic, and Mr. Koločany is representing the Slovak presidency in the strategy, which will take over after October this year. And then we have, in my left, Mr. Roland Harpter from the Special Planning and Regional Policy Division in the Federal Chancellery in Austria. And Mr. Harpter has been a monitoring committee member in the Southeast Europe program and is a current member of the monitoring committee of the Danube Transnational Program. Ms. Magdalena Vojna, she's the head of the National Authorities for the EU Programs Unit, deputy head of the Romanian National Authority in the Ministry of Regional Development and Public Administration of Romania, and she's also a member of the former Southeast Europe Program Monitoring Committee and the current Danube Program Monitoring Committee. And last but not least, Ms. Sanda Šimić, head of National Authority Assistant Director in the Serbian and European Integration Office. Ms. Šimić as well was a previous MC member in the Southeast Europe program, and she is part of our monitoring committee as well. So, in order to warm up the guests, I would like to ask one single question to everybody, and this question I think should give us an idea of what are the expectations, their expectations actually, for the Danube Transnational Program. So I would like to ask my question first to Mr. Rodriguez. Which are your expectations for the Danube Transnational Program? I don't know if you have a microphone.
Thank you, Alessandra. And yeah, this is a very simple question, but with a lot of content in it. Because we have, of course, big expectations from this program. But I would like to explain why we have big expectations as well. Because as you mentioned, in the current period, we are trying to build a Danube program with the exact matching the geography of the strategy, And this is mainly because, as I mentioned in my presentation, we need this strategic approach as one of the key points for the new programming and also during the implementation phase of the programs. And when I say that we have big expectations, is because we really think that this Danube transnational program is responding to a need that has been identified by member states, regions acting in this area. But we should also make a good distinction between the transnational program and the strategy itself. I tried to do this morning when I made my presentation, following the words of our General Director, but it's very important to have in mind that the Danube transnational program should support the functioning of the strategy, but it's not the only, of course, it could not be the only source of funding of the strategy, because the strategy is much more ambitious. We have lots of priorities that have been identified since 2011, and we are continuing to have this identification, this work by the governance actors of the strategy. And of course, what should really be working for that strategy would be all sorts of funding, not only cooperation programs, the rest of operational programs in the area, the rest, other sources of funding, other instruments at the national, regional level. So this is very important to make the distinction. But coming back to your questions, of course, the big expectation is supporting the strategy, embedding the Danube strategy in the program, but of course, giving a reply and to those priorities that have been selected, have the best cooperation programs that are needed and will be presented by potential beneficiaries. I think this launching event will be remembered, not only for this impressive venue, but also the way you are organizing this, because I profited during the coffee break to have a look on the project ideas panel, and I think this is a very good idea, because there are already some ideas going on, and it's the right moment now to start, now that the first call is being launched today. You have till, if I understand well, early November to present the expressions of interest, and this is the way to do it, because to use this event as networking to really have the good ideas, the good projects for the area that we require with the program. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm only the second to speak, but already someone said what I was planning to say. So coming from the Danube strategy perspective, of course, I would also have some expectations regarding the link of both strategy and program. But more basically, of course, my expectation would be that the program contributes to